Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the B2B Outbound Marketing and Sales Automation. Guys, we struggle very hard to find the best tools out there to get them to you. And today we have a very interesting story. We have Findymail, and it's coming from France. So we have Valentin, who is actually the founder of Findymail. Valentin, thank you very much for coming on the show and welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Well, before the call, I was actually checking out your website. It was really interesting. But before we actually get into the tool directly, maybe you can give us some background about you and what inspired you to start Findymail. Because when I was checking LinkedIn, it's like 1-year-old company or a 1-year-old product.
Yeah, so basically, I'm a software engineer by background, and I just like to build products for many years now. And I started to play with building a SaaS product a few years ago, and
Nice.
Findymail wasn't my first product. My first product was actually an SEO monitoring tool called SEO. And that's how I stepped into that SaaS space and learned the ins and outs of building a SaaS product. That was also how I learned I did everything myself. So I was doing the product, but also learning how to sell it, how to market it, how to do customer support, and everything. And long story short, it did not get off the ground as much as I would like it to be. I made obviously many mistakes, as it was the first project, but I learned a lot about that. And at some point, in early 2022, I didn't have product market fit, so I decided let's keep it running for the few customers I have, but let's dedicate some of my time to explore other projects that maybe have more potential. So I took from my experience, in what problems did I have in selling that product. I said, can I do something that solves the kind of problem I encountered when trying to sell my own product? And I started different projects. One was a Reddit automation tool, so to market on Reddit, automatically
Nice.
post and comment on Reddit, and an advanced search based on keywords and that kind of stuff. And one of them was an email finding tool based for Twitter. So basically, the idea was to scrape a list of followers and turn that into a list of B2B emails. So the way it was interesting is you immediately have some personalization data point there, because if you scrap the list of followers of XYZ accounts,
post or group, you know how when you're sending them an outbound message, you can say, well, we follow the same group.
Yeah. They're interested in XYZ niche, and you can mention you found them on Twitter, which is an original way of customization in outreach, because that's not common. So that looks more natural. So
quick question, Valentin. Can it be done the other way around? You have a business email, so it can check in which groups on Twitter it's connected. So you can then, even if it's not scraped from Twitter, you can say, you know what, I actually saw you in this group on Twitter. That would be also interesting.
Yeah, that's we can't do that yet, but we could explore that. But yeah, that was the original product idea. So that's Scrappy Bird, and it's actually still running. And that one got quickly more traction than my SEO tool. So I said, let's close the SEO tool and focus on that new tool first. So I saw that, and it quickly got traction. But I also quickly noticed that it was and it still is the only tool that does that on the market. So that's good, because there's no real alternative, but also it's a bit hard to sell because people don't even know that such thing exists. They don't look for it on Google. And if they're not like open to exploring a bit innovative channels, if they want to stick with like the common wisdom, then like you need people that like to try new things, and many people are not like that, and so if they never heard of it, they won't necessarily be interested. So it's a bit harder to sell because you have to educate the people on what's possible and that prove that it has value to them. So I said, oh, that works, but can't I just, with the same principle like that, build something that will be like more generic, something that people are actually already
rather than to educate them,
already looking for and know how to use already. So that's how I transitioned into Findymail, which is a more generic like email finder. The email finder market is big. There's already lots of players. People are familiar with like how to use such tools, and they usually already use one. So that's a much bigger bucket. And if I can just grab a few percent of that market, like that would be a significantly a nice size company. So I decided to go down that road, and my positioning basically was to provide high quality data, because one of the things people liked about Scrapybird was that you didn't have to like verify the email list you get after the scraping. Like you can directly scrape your list and directly use it for your outreach. You don't have to deal with bounces and whatnot. Like the data was very good. So I noticed that was something people liked, and I wanted to do the same thing for Findymail, because in a lot of email finders like Hunter or whatnot, usually you have to
verify them after the scrape.
Yeah, you verify them with another tool, another subscription, and it also have that process in place, like putting that CSV file or whatnot in that other tool. It adds a bunch of steps, which in my opinion shouldn't be necessary. Like as a data provider, you should be responsible for providing
that's
quality data.
There are a lot of scrapers, but they're more focused on just the automation and how fast it can be, rather than do you actually look up at the data? Because at the end of the day, I don't need data. I need the email to be correct so I can start an email campaign. So it's not just can you find this person, but if the data is bad, if it's not verified, then I cannot use it.
Yeah, exactly. So
nice.
So that's how Findymail was born, and I started to plug it into sales calls for Scrapybird, and people actually liked it. And again, it got even more traction than Scrapybird initially. So I transitioned again from Scrapybird to Findymail, which is now my full-time focus.
Nice. And you know what, Valentin, because we do one recording per automation tool, maybe we can organize another one for Scrapybird, because I also think there is a good potential there, and people should be aware that by utilizing Twitter as a potential data channel, it's not a sales channel, it's a data channel where you can extract information about people, about their interest, and then add it into their existing campaign. It can be a completely different recording. For today, we wanted to discuss about Findymail and how is it positioned with the others you've mentioned. I don't know, Scrapio. There were not the Apollo. Which were the other tools that are finding qualified emails? How are you aligned with the competition?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of players in the email finding space, like companies like Hunter, Follow Nowhere, Animal Finder.
Novio, I think it was also.
Yeah, yes, no. So many out there. And the way we position ourselves is on multiple aspects. The first one is like the data quality and the data coverage. So we strive to focus on providing only valid emails. We don't provide any catch-all email or any invalid email, guest email or whatever. like all the data we provide, you should be able to use it directly without needing a third-party verifier tool. And if we're not confident in the data, the email we're providing, like we'd rather say we didn't find anything rather than providing you a guest email that may or may not be valid.
And ruin your domain by sending to those emails.
Yeah, exactly. So the goal is you can use the Findymail data directly in your campaigns without extra step. And with that, like obviously that removes some emails compared to other tools that just throw everything they guess. But the goal also is to have the best coverage on the market so that we find a lot more emails. And I think we managed to do that pretty successfully, because I've done, obviously there's a lot of players, but I've done benchmark myself on multiple players in the space. And we found more emails than them on a given list of contacts. I know that many of my biggest customers, like when they choose a data provider, they also have done a comparison, and each time Findymail came on top. So obviously, like maybe there's a player out there that I don't know about that find even more emails than us, but so far, like we systematically come first in such benchmarks. So I'm quite happy about that. Like we have very good email coverage, even though we provide only verified emails. So that's one aspect of the differentiation. Like people come to us to get more emails, because more emails, if you're able to find 10% more emails, that means you can potentially close 10% more deals, and that's a big deal. Especially if your niche is quite small. Like, so that's one aspect. And the other aspect where we differentiate to many email finders, that a lot of email finders don't necessarily have any automation, and you have to use another tool to like scrape and then enrich and then verify, if they don't have the verification path. So we want to help salespeople save time on the verification step, but also in the scraping data step. So we provide that automation, like you can export directly from Sales Navigator, Apollo, that kind of stuff, and enrich at the same time, so that you don't spend your salespeople time.
All with the automation is to save time rather than take it from one tool, then to another tool, then to another tool, just to get data.
Exactly. And also, like, too many people just, I don't know, just have to export one page at a time on Sales Navigator, or limitation, or stupid limitation like this. That's sad to see. Like, you shouldn't pay people to click on skip page.
And Valentin, I would really love if you could just share your screen and actually show us how Findymail actually works, because I'm sure that viewers will be curious in regards to how they can use it for themselves in order to save them time.
Yeah. Basically, you can use Findymail in various ways to enrich your emails. The classic way is you need to find somebody's email. You just enter name and websites. You have a CSV with name and website, and again, you just upload your CSV and it enrich your CSV file. Nothing fancy there, but it's always useful. But the main thing people use is usually in Sales Navigator, using our Chrome extension. Actually, do I have this? Yep. So the way it works is you do your
play with the filters.
You play with your Sales Navigator filters like usual, and then the export to CSV button here will appear. And the way it works is you can just export a whole Sales Navigator search, and it will enrich emails at the same time. So it can take a bunch of time if I export 2K now, but let's do let's do a quick example here. And on top of like finding the emails at the same time and scraping, also we'll add some additional helper columns, because basically if you played a bit with Sales Navigator, you know that depending on the filter you use, you will have leads that will appear that may be outside actually of your.
Yeah, there is a margin of error, especially if one person has two jobs at the same time, and then it applies both, even if it's not in the relevant company.
Yeah, that there's a lot of like I don't know, it's like glitches, but like of weird way Sales Navigator works. And the way we help people save time is that on top of the data, we add some column like job title match. Does the job title exactly match the job? Does the company size match? Here I didn't use the company size filter, so it's blank, and I didn't. Same thing for the industry, but sometimes you say, for example, between 10 and 50 company headcount, and someone will have a company with 1,000 people there, and you know it's not in your target. So you can easily exclude that, because it will be just yes or no, and you can just use filters on Google Sheets or Excel, whatever you use to process CSVs, and it will help you just process the data even more faster, and review to send only to relevant prospects.
And Valentin, when you export the CSV, it's without emails. Then you use the CSV into the tool, right? Into the email, Findymail, in order to find emails, right?
No, when you export, you already add the emails, and if the email are blank, it means we just didn't find the email. So everything happens at the same time, and you can add your scrapped contacts to a specific list if you want to organize yourself, and not if you don't want to deal like with lots of CSV files. We save all the contacts you're scraping into your Findymail contacts that you can find here on the Findymail contacts page, and you have your different lists that you can organize.
Nice. And I also saw that on the tool you have API and other tool features that you can utilize. Maybe you can share those as well.
Yeah, so we also have an API. So if you want to plug Findymail in your existing automation, you can access Findymail automatically using whatever programming language you use. That's actually where we're going this year, is adding lots of partnerships and being a data provider for also tools that need that email finding stack capability. Yeah. And so you will be able to just plug your API there. Either they will be we already resell the data on white label for some of them. So either it's not transparent for you, or sometimes they will ask you to have a Findymail account and plug your API key to access the data in the tool, depending on if they want to resell the data themselves or if they want you to have an account. But you will be able to use Findymail data in other software, and you already can actually. And we also have a Zapier integration actually in beta that you can join if you want to plug Findymail in your
into your sequence automation to be the first step with the Findymail, and then continue with other activities, right?
Exactly. So that's how people use Findymail, either automatically using the API, the API or whatnot, either using CSV like I shown, or either in the Chrome extension. That's the three main ways people access the data. And so that's for the email finder part. And there's basically the same thing for the email verifier part. You can upload CSV with emails and
Nice.
verify a single email or verify emails directly through the API.
Well, I was also curious about partnership opportunities. The API is definitely, as you mentioned, a good way for data provider that can, or tool provider that can automate some part with you. But also any other partnership that is worth mentioning here?
Yeah, so we already partner with some tools in the sales outreach cold email space. And we provide them with email data. We have some deals pending where for other such opportunities. So we look forward to add even more of those, because that's we like to spread the quality data is our mission. And we also have some partnerships with like some agencies that have developed some tooling themselves in-house, but also need that email finding capability and good data that they want to plug into that. So we do that as well. And so we open to such opportunities, and otherwise we also are very open to do like co-marketing opportunities with tools that come before or after us in the sales stack. So like we have good relationships with email sending tools and that kind of stuff. That are the next logical steps into the flow that people use.
Yeah, well, it sounds perfect. And Valentin, where is the tool headed in the future? I mean, 2023 is here. Where do you see Findymail in the future in regards to features, in regards to functionalities, in direction where you want to grow it?
Yeah, so we're fast growing. So the goal would be to keep that growth. And in terms of like more of the product, as I said, like right now, our goal is to build even more integrations, like to be present in the various tools people use, and like really plug that high quality data where they need it. So that's the one fold. And the other way would be to also like add even more enrichment capabilities. So for example, like being able to find an email from a LinkedIn URL, from a Twitter URL, as you mentioned, or directly from a domain, just use a domain and a target role instead of needing the contact name. So just providing even more ways for people to access good quality data.
And Valentin, so you're going even better into the quality. It just crossed my mind. How are you currently addressing the GDPR? Because you're in Europe, in France specifically, and GDPR is like a wide framework of protection of the data. So is the data that you're providing are GDPR compliant, or you leave that to the client to sort out?
Yeah, so we're GDPR compliant. And that's why we also provide only B2B emails and company emails, and absolutely not personal emails, because I don't think that you can justify using personal emails for commercial outreach.
True. I never want when people send an email on my Yahoo or Gmail, and then you're like, I have a business related stuff there. This is my personal space.
So no, we have all that sorted out. We have data processing agreement for our customers to use if they need the paperwork and protect themselves as well. But yeah, everything's good. And if some customers reach out to us and ask us some clarifications on like some guidance on like what they need to do or not, and we're always happy to help on clarifying like what does GDPR means for them in terms of like legal things to do.
And Valentin, I mean, we are finishing with the recording. For the people that are listening to you, I checked on your website that you had some free things that they can try, like 10 tests or something. Can you tell us, for people that are interested to check or read more about Findymail or even giving a try, where they should go, where they can find you?
So I'm active on Twitter and LinkedIn. So I regularly post content about sales, cold email, and everything there. So you can find me there and also send me messages if you have specific questions. Always happy to help. And regarding Findymail itself, you can always sign up because the sign up is free. You have 10 emails that you can use whenever you need. So you can have a look, install the Chrome extension, play around with the 10 emails, like see if it works with your workflow, and whenever you need more data, you just upgrade on your own and you're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly. What we're going to do is that we're going to leave the LinkedIn from the URLs from your LinkedIn and from the website just below this video. And Valentin, I really wanted to thank you for coming and presenting the Findymail. But for all the listeners, viewers, because we do podcasts, we do video on YouTube, is that check it out. Findymail. I think it could be very useful for you. There are 10 as a free trial, so no commitment to start with. Give it a try, check how it will work with your systems. And of course, I really hope that you will find it very useful and it will save multiple hours per week, because that's the goal here, to get good quality data and also save time so you can focus on growing your business rather than copying it, pasting it, and doing all the data activities. Valentin, thank you very much again for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good. That was a great time.
Same.